guys? Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike B, aka Phony, and today we're going to be talking about not the capture card thing. Some of you guys that follow me on Twitter know I'm probably waiting for this capture card thing. I'm going to be posting that on YouTube. It became such a huge mess. I'm only like halfway done, and it's about 30 minutes long. So I'm halfway through the content, 30 minutes long. It's kind of ridiculous. Definitely not BFF Report material. Besides that, it's extremely technical. So I'm going to be posting that stuff on my YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. It's at AK Mike B on YouTube. It should be posted probably sometime starting next week. It'll be multiple parts too, so stay tuned for that. But I wanted to also focus a bit more on a game that I've been playing for a long time, and I've just never really sat down and really just kind of banged out a BFF report for, and that game is called Ravaged. First, a quick background. We have 2 Dawn Games, which is an indie developer who came from a background that you guys might be familiar with, like Battlefield, Desert Combat, etc. And they threw their project up on Kickstarter, and it did pretty well. It actually got almost 3 times the amount they were asking for. Fast forward a couple months, and Shizzle hits me up, and he says, hey, these guys from 2 Dawn, they threw me some beta keys for this game called Ravaged. You wanna come check it out? And I was like, what is it? And he goes, oh, it's a first-person shooter, post-APOC, lots of vehicles, lots of explosions, etc., etc. And I'm like, oh, these are things that tickle my fancy. Sure. So I started playing it a little bit, made a couple videos, posted on YouTube, people liked it, I'll stream it a whole bunch of times, and basically it became part of like my rotation. So when I stream, usually I'll start off with something that is like the flavor of the week or something. Maybe I'm working on something for the BFF report or whatever, and I wanted to play it and stream it live and whatever. So I'll do some of that, and then as the drinks keep coming in, I might move on to something else that's a little bit more familiar to me, because I'm no longer learning anything from the game that I'm playing previously because I'm too inebriated, and therefore I need something I actually like, and that I'm not required to play for some silly reason like making internet videos for a living or something. And the general rotation goes like this. It's like Trials.
This game.
Why do I play this game every goddamn week? Ravaged. No, watch out. Damn it.
Why did you do that to me?
What's wrong with you? Learn to drive. What's wrong with you?
Phony, god damn it.
Damn it.
Did you really just blow up my truck?
You need a ride? And comedy night. Comedy night is usually the very end of the night. It's the one thing that you just, that's when you know you've hit rock bottom. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
So anyways.
But I can hear him.
Dicks.
So how about I go ahead and tell you about the game? Besides the post-APOC setting, you're gonna have 2 different factions. One faction wants to put everything back together again. The other faction doesn't give a shit about anything, and they're just out there to loot. On each faction, you have a number of classes. For the most part, they're pretty much matched up even, except for a couple of weapons here and there. So the only choice you really have to make is, do I want an awesome minigun or not? Now, for the most part, all of the servers that are up are on like a random rotation. Anything from team deathmatch to thrust, which is like conquest or domination, all the way to resource control, which is basically like capture the flag. And the map sizes vary from really compact with tons of catwalks, corridors, and tunnels, all the way up to fairly large maps where air-to-air combat is actually a thing. And one thing I really like about Ravaged is that it's non-stop action. There's virtually no downtime, unless you're trying to snipe somewhere, in which case you might find a safe spot that, you know, maybe nobody will find you for about 2.5 minutes. But outside of that, it is just non-stop explosions and gunfire and just craziness. As a matter of fact, last night I was playing, I wasn't even streaming, I just invited a couple people from Twitter to come on to a specific server, and I almost had enough footage to do this entire BFF report within like the first hour, because that's how much nonsense happens, and that's how many maps you can rotate through, that's how many different gameplay types you're gonna go through. Every match lasts about 7 to 15 minutes, depending of course on the size of the map, how many people you're playing with, and of course, the gameplay style. Now, of course, given the fact that these guys came from a Battlefield background, and as a matter of fact, I believe these guys are the ones that kind of helped get vehicles into Battlefield, obviously we're going to get vehicles in Ravaged, and these things are sick, and they actually require a little bit of skill. Driving around it's not too difficult to pick up. Actually, driving around is probably the easiest thing to do, but it's not cake. You're not just go through and just, oh, hit right, hit left, oh, I'm good, I got this. No, you're probably gonna crash into a couple things a few times until you get used to it. Flying is where you are going to just hate life. It does, you do need a little bit of skill in order to actually fly, a good amount of skill to fly. I'm not even gonna lie. It does, if you haven't played for like a week or so and you go back in and play, you're probably gonna need to jump on, you know, an empty server or something and just jump into a couple of gyrocopters or something just to kind of get used to it again, because you will screw it up because it is that difficult to kind of keep in check. Now, once you're in the air, you're not going to have full superiority. It's very easy to take you out, but you can get a few kills in here and there. But everybody has access to stingers, and so when somebody dies, they go and choose a different loadout, come back with a stinger, and they could just light you up. Now, if you're good enough, you could probably dodge a lot of those, but for the most part, there is nothing OP about being in a flying vehicle versus being on any ground vehicle or just, you know, hiding in a corner somewhere. Everything seems pretty well balanced. There's a couple weapons that might need some tuning, but it's still in beta, hasn't launched yet, so I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna get there. And of course, I'm mainly referring to the minigun because it's ridiculous. Everything seems pretty well balanced in terms of vehicles are concerned. Weapons, there's a couple things that might feel a little bit OP. Like, for example, I keep bringing up the minigun. The minigun does feel like I'm just mowing people down, but the fact is, it's all short to mid-range, and it's all relative too, right? If you're a sniper, then obviously you're gonna be pretty lethal from a distance if you're good at the game, right? So while stomping around with the minigun might feel OP, if you're pretty good with a sniper rifle, then you're gonna feel pretty OP in that position as well. So from my experience so far, it does seem like each class is relatively balanced in terms of like weapons and all of that stuff. Some people are going to have favorites. Some people are going to be better at some classes than others. So if you get shot in the face, it doesn't mean the other guy is like hacking or whatever. They have things in place to prevent this. But what I will say in terms of weapon balance, because obviously this is a big deal in FPS, is that they are making small adjustments here and there before launch. I noticed that the crossbow, as an example, the crossbow used to be, in my opinion, extremely OP. Granted, I was pretty decent with it for a while. I go in phases, right? Like, I'll be really good at one thing, and then I'll be like, oh, rocket launcher. I'm gonna go be a rocket whore for a little while, and then I'll be good at that, and then I'll jump on something else. Anyways, I went back in there, tried the crossbow, and it used to be able to one-shot people, like, fairly easily, and it does seem that they've made some adjustments. Either they adjusted the hitbox so that I couldn't, like, headshot people by shooting them in the nuts, or they dumbed down the, they nerfed the crossbow a little bit, which I think that's probably what they did, because it does take me more than one shot to kill people at times. That seems to be resolved. So they are making little changes here and there, and that's obviously very important in a first-person shooter. Now, keep saying FPS. I should go ahead and note that there are third-person cameras in this game. I'm not a big fan of them. I prefer not to. Plus, you can't scope when you're in third person, so I wouldn't recommend it. But it's there if you feel the need to go ahead and see your character. Some of you guys might feel the need to see your character. Just, yep. Now, of course, just like every other game that's been released lately and all the ones that will be released in the future, they are putting in a spectator cam mode because they're trying to do the esports thing. Whether they're trying to go big time or they just want to put it in there so that people can have fun with it, it remains to be seen. What I will say is that observing a match is actually just as fun, almost as fun as playing it, because you do get some really fantastic shots. I mean, what I'm playing right now is, of course, all footage from, you know, somewhere between switching to different nodes, switching different characters, or just following around certain people, like, for example, Shizzle, who just has bad luck with, like, helicopters. No matter what game we're playing, it seems like. If it flies, he's gonna be kind of iffy with it. What I've seen so far is a good start. It's better than what I've seen in most games, to be honest. The ability to adjust the speed of the camera, and of course the ability to move from character to character, it's all there. There's no GUI for it yet, so there's no like special scoreboard or anything, which I think they're probably gonna work on it as needed. So if the want's there, they'll probably put time into it. And of course, the want is generated by the fans and the players. So we'll see what happens, but right now they have a pretty good start. At least they're not gonna be starting from scratch trying to build an entire system, because gamers are not patient like that. So in the end, what we have is a solid first-person shooter developed by an indie studio that costs $24.99. It's going to be out October 17th. Personally, I am definitely going to be in this thing. It is a part of my regular rotation because it's so easy, again, just to jump in there and just have a lot of fun for like 2 or 3 hours, like every other day. And as we all know, there's a ton of shooters being released over this next year, and so there's gonna be a lot of competition there, but in my opinion, this one's gonna fill just that certain need where you just wanna get in, have some action, and get out without having to worry about you specking this, specking that, making your way to a certain destination to even have some fun to begin with. It's just get in, action, blow shit up, get out, finish that last drink, go do comedy night, and then regret that shit in the morning. All right, so once again, October 17th, $24.99, that's when it comes out. It is not a cash shop driven game. It is, here's the game, have a nice day. And that's pretty much it. There might be DLC down the line like every other game that you purchase. But for the time being, there's lots of stuff here. It is part of my regular rotation of stuff that we do. And it's a lot of fun. It's like Trials, Ravaged, Comedy Night. Damn, Comedy Nights. Anyways, next week, stay tuned. I have a couple of things in the works right now. I'm not quite sure which one is going to be nailed first. I know a lot of you guys asked for Borderlands 2 BFF Report. I'm not quite sure if I'll get to that just yet. But we do know that Miss Pandaria is coming out, and that is kind of a big deal to the audience that watches this show. So we might get in there and check that out. Hopefully by the time the BFF Report comes out next week, I might actually already be level 90. Who knows? We'll see. See you guys later. Bye.